AI is no longer optional for you. It's the secret weapon that every video entrepreneur needs, and here's how it's transformed my business over the last year. In this video, I'm gonna break down the AI tools that I use to streamline my workflows, cut costs, and impress and pitch clients. I'm gonna show you some of the real world results of using AI. So about a year ago, I was up for a pretty big job with a real estate company. They were looking at a lot of different vendors on who to pick to create their video content. Ultimately, I was chosen because I was able to put together a pitch that aligned with their vision of the project. I used Runway and Midjourney and 11 Labs to basically create a rough draft version of the very video that they wanted to see. Everybody else had PowerPoint slides, they had some scripts, they had some outlines, but I actually had a finished video. Even some of the images and some of the videos from that video ended up even making it into the final product. And now I can talk about it because it's been publicly released and they're now selling the property. The name of the property is Hollywood Mountain. Right now there's a restaurant at the top called the Yamashiro Hollywood, but the idea was to create a video that had this ambiguous feel to it, that this place was just a historical landmark that could become anything. The person who bought it was going to be a real estate mogul, most likely, who had a lot of money and had a vision for what they wanted to build with it. Right now, it's in the process of being sold. I don't really know all the details with it, but I was just hired to create a video that would drive interest to show the potential investors of the property and tell a story and kind of walk people through the history of why the land is so important and so significant. In the AI video, it helped me A, write the script, B, make the shot list, and then execute on providing the images, creating some actual movement and some flow. I threw in some really exciting cinematic music, and then boom, we had an entire visual story that moved from A to Z. And again, some of the lines that I had written in that video actually ended up making it into the finished product, which is really exciting. If you click on the description of this video, you can actually check out the finished edit. Unfortunately, I cannot share the AI edit online, just a few images that I put in this edit. This is a really exciting and new software that one of my clients just asked me to check out, and it is creating a translation of a long form podcast into a different language. One of my clients has a successful podcast show, and they want to tap into their Latin roots and create some content in Spanish. But it's a podcast, it's audio only. So the old style of just adding transcriptions and subtitles to the bottom is not going to be helpful at all. Now, to pay somebody to transcribe that long form podcast show that's an hour long and then go through and record it onto a mic for an hour. In fact, with these podcasts, there's two different people speaking. So you'd have to hire two different people and you'd have to get on the show and re-record it and have it perfectly in sync in time. That's going to cost like hundreds of dollars per episode. We're trying to do this at scale. We want to be able to produce hundreds of episodes of this podcast in Spanish. So after a ton of research and testing out different AI softwares, the one that I landed on was called Maestra, M-A-E-S-T-R-A. Maestra, I don't know. When you type it into Google, though, it doesn't come up first. You have to scroll down and make sure you look for it. So Maestra is an amazing software. It's the only one that I found that can do this at scale at a really affordable cost. Some of the other softwares are absolutely outrageous how much they wanted to charge. For example, V.io had a block after 15 minutes of transcription. It was going to stop me from creating content unless I signed up for the enterprise program, which who knows how much that costs. Probably way too much money. I don't want to do that. The other funny thing that I learned how to get around the paywall is that by using Maestra, you can't do a voice clone of those people. So you can't just clone their voice. It doesn't sound exactly like them. It sounds like somebody else. So that's kind of another way that they get around making it a little bit cheaper because it's not a voice clone. But still, you can even pick the dialect that you want that person to be speaking in. For example, my client listened to the first draft. Well, this sounds like they're speaking from Spain. I want it to be more Mexican sounding Spanish. So I was simply able to change the dialect with a click of a few buttons. So why did my client even want to do this? And why should you pitch this to your clients? Well, having your podcast in a different language obviously opens you up to so many more listeners. You can start a whole new channel and target a whole new audience that's never been targeted before with your channel. In fact, Spanish-speaking countries make up a huge percentage of YouTube and long-form content consumption. So by doing this, you're actually creating a whole new revenue source for your client and expanding their audience 2x, 3x. It's pretty awesome. And you can do this at scale using the softwares and methods that I just described. Now, the second best way that I've used AI personally is in terms of editing efficiency. Now, what does that look like? Well, first of all, there's a really popular software out there called Opus AI. What that software does is it takes long-form podcast video recordings up to an hour, 2 to 3 hours long, and creates short-form clips from that video using AI to detect what are the most interesting sections of the video and automatically converting it to a vertical style and adding captions underneath it. Now, there is some manual editing that you have to do that is involved in that, but it reduces the amount of editing time by 80%. So I have my assistant editor basically just take care of that process for me. Sometimes there's glitches, you have to change the in and out points. Sometimes that makes mistakes. So it still needs a guiding hand. It's not completely automated, but it's been automated for me. Now I no longer have to touch it. I take my long form podcast and my assistant editor hands me back short clips that we can post at scale to YouTube. And of course, as we all know, short clips is the best way to drive traffic to your long form media content. I'm gonna probably do it on this video myself. The third software that I use also for podcasts is AutoPod AI. Let's say you're editing a long form podcast video, you have 3 cameras, wide and 2 tights, and you're constantly having to cut between the angles when the next person is speaking. Using AutoPod AI, it automatically detects who is speaking and then cuts to that specific angle. And the problem is you have to do some pre-production to make sure it gets executed. Each audio channel of that person speaking has to be connected to the corresponding video channel. You can't just have a mono output of audio and then multiple camera sources. The AI won't be able to detect where the speaking is coming from. And so you have to connect the video asset to the audio asset in order for it to work, which can take some upfront work. But once you do the pre-production, post-production becomes a breeze. Okay, what's the last way that I've been using AI in my business? That's creating AI digital avatars. What the heck is an avatar? Why would you want one? Well, an avatar is a digital twin version of yourself. It's a digital clone that looks and talks exactly like you, and you can feed it a script and create content. That's the boring part. The exciting part is creating an interactive avatar. That's the next level. So an interactive avatar, you can feed it a bunch of blogs, FAQ style questions, your website, and you can pre-program it to say exactly what you want it to say, and you can send it to clients and they can ask it questions, and you can have real-time interactions with this AI avatar version of yourself, which can help save time for the business owner, or you can sell it as a service. For example, a client said to me the other day, can we create an AI avatar version of myself that takes all of my knowledge and wealth of resources and sell it to people so that they can have a pocket version of me in their phone so that they can talk to me and ask me for advice about health and nutrition, and I can respond to them in real time? The answer, of course, is yes. The software that I use is HeyGen, Heygen. That's the best software that I know for creating interactive and instant avatars. So that's a little bit about how I use AI in my business to generate more income and help me save time. If you're looking for more tips like this or want help starting out your video production company, check out the other videos on my page. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.